Welcome back everybody. I am here again in my workroom for another hardware video. And as you can see in front of you, we have an NES here. This is actually the NES that I showed you in my last pickups video. And I know it looks a lot different. It looks quite a bit less shitty than it did in the pickups video. We got a door put on it here and it's nice and clean. In fact, it almost looks brand new, but I said in that video I was going to do a video on this to refurbish it for another YouTuber that wanted a detailed video on how to refurbish the 72-pin connector. Unfortunately, this thing has some corrosion on the motherboard that looks like it has eaten through the solder mask and has probably damaged the traces underneath, because I went through anyway and did the rest of the video in good faith, hoping that it was still good, and once I hooked it up, it won't work. I just get a gray screen and it will not boot up a cartridge no matter what I do. So this thing is a brick. I could probably fix those traces if I wanted to, but it's just really not worth it. It'll be good for some spare parts, but anyhow, he really did want to see that video. I promised him I'd post it up this week. So up next here, I'm going to go ahead and actually show you that part of it because it's still relevant, but I don't want to show you a full video of everything that I did on a unit that didn't work in the end, because I don't want to lie to you and be like, oh look, put another NES up there that does work and go like, and see it works just fine. So I've got another NES that I can do another video on that hasn't been touched since day one, and it does have issues loading games, so it'll be perfect for this. And that'll be in the not too distant future. But for now, I'm just going to show how to do the 72-pin connector for A. Crosby, so he can try to fix that NES that he's got sitting around. And the rest of it we'll have to show later. But go ahead and comment down below. Let me know if this wasn't detailed enough for you. This section of refurbishing the 72-pin connector, or if you think it could be more detailed, get the camera closer, whatever. Just comment down below. Let me know what you think, because I'm going to go over it again when I do the full video of refurbishing that other NES. But in the meantime, here's that section of the video, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in a couple of days with a pickup video. Thanks, bye. Alright, so I'm back again, and this is the 72-pin connector. Now this is the original 72-pin connector that came in this unit, and I can tell because it's loose. So like when you stick a cartridge in, for instance, let me grab one over here that I have, a copy of Excitebike. You push it in, it doesn't provide a whole lot of resistance in removing or putting the cartridge in. And the reason that is people believe that over time these pins would wear down from the constant usage of pushing cartridges up and down, which makes sense. Metal fatigues overuse, sort of like springs. Springs do not wear because they are compressed. They wear because they are compressed and decompressed over time. So I mean, that makes sense, but that's kind of an easy way to tell if your 72-pin connector is original, because the replacement 72-pin connectors will have a death grip on that cartridge. It will take some force to get it in, and you will really have to pull to get it out. And that is one of the few reasons why I do not like the replacement pin connectors. I also believe they are of inferior quality. I've seen them fail within months after putting them in. And the thing I don't like about them having that death grip on the cartridge is that's friction on your contacts on your cartridges. I mean, you have metal to metal contact. Eventually it's going to wear down. But I mean, the more friction, the more tension that's on there, the faster that's going to happen. So I really don't like that, which is why I prefer to refurbish one of these and, you know, put a little bit more tension on the pins, but not so much that you have to get a crane to get the damn thing out of your, your console. That's a bit much, but and as a matter of fact, if I see an NES being sold and they say that they've replaced the 72-pin connector, I won't buy it. Don't want it. I want original 72-pin connectors. I prefer to refurbish, but if you want to replace yours, I suggest getting the ones from the NES repair shop, which I've showed you their cleaning kits before, and they sell them there. Those are probably the best quality ones that I can recommend. I wouldn't buy ones on eBay, but like I said, I recommend refurbishing these connectors, and I think it's really sad that a lot of these are just getting junked when really there's nothing wrong with them. They just need to be refurbished, but sometimes people are lazy. They don't really want to put forth the effort. Now, there's two methods to refurbishing one of these. The method which I'm going to show you, which is basically bending these pins up. The other method that you might see on YouTube is boiling the 72-pin connector. When I first heard this, I thought that's a really strange notion. Boiling a 72-pin connector, or boiling any electronic for that matter, just seemed kind of strange to me. But yeah, so how they do it is you bring a pot of water to a boil and you toss this in there for 5 minutes. When it's done, you get a pair of tongs, pull them out, set it down, and get a cartridge and insert it like 20 times or something like that, and then toss it back in and boil it for another 5 minutes. Remove it and let it dry. My theory on this is you boil it and it's cleaning any residue on these pins by loosening it. Heat loosens crap from other crap. I mean, it's just simple. Heat and water. Water is a natural solvent. So you get hot water, it makes stuff easier to remove. And then by inserting your cartridge in and out, you're actually scrubbing that dirt off with the friction. And then throwing it back in, I don't know. But whether or not it actually makes more tension on these pins, I don't know. Nobody has been able to explain with any real actual scientific method of why it works. They just go, it seems to work. So that's up to you whether you want to try that method or not. If you're interested, search Google or YouTube here for videos on how to do that. But what I'm going to show you right now is how to bend these pins back. So basically what I'm going to use to do that is a small flathead screwdriver. Actually, I was going to use the one I used earlier, but that's actually a little bit too big. So what you want to do here, oops, sorry, bumped the camera, is basically you're just going to get in up towards the front of the pin here, and then you're just going to bend it up. Just ever so slightly. Don't bend it up too much, but you can see it bend up, and I can't really get it on camera here, and I doubt that I'll be able to get it in focus by getting it any closer, but basically you just get in front of the pin here with a small screwdriver. This is a 3 64 inch screwdriver, so it's pretty small, and just get up in the front of the pin here and then just twist it to help bend it up ever so slightly. Now I'm not going to show you me bending up every single one of these pins. That would take a long time and be kind of irrelevant, but as for these bottom ones, you don't need to do anything with those. You can leave those alone. It's just these ones you got to bend up, which is just getting up in front here and just bending it up ever so slightly. And yes, this is tedious. Yes, this is going to take time. It's kind of a pain in the ass, I know, but to me it's worth it to do it this way rather than throw it in a pot of boiling water and then just without any explanation go, it works. But yeah, so that's how you refurbish the pins. Now, how to actually clean them, that's another story. Actually, to clean them, there are a couple of different things you can do. Now, if you look on videos, on a lot of videos on YouTube, you'll see that people suggest getting, say, a credit card. If you don't have a cleaning kit, like cleaning kits kind of work the same way that you'd buy with these old cartridge systems. So basically you get like a credit card or something like that, like this Bass Pro Shop Outdoor Rewards card, which I've never used. And then I get some of this material, the anti-static cleaning cloths they use on cartridges. And then basically what I do is I'm going to get isopropyl alcohol and get that wet with some isopropyl. Don't need a ton of it, just trying real hard not to make a mess here. Get it everywhere. Get the other side. Now, these NES connectors are a little bit trickier than other systems. And I say that because if you stick this in too far, it's going to catch on the back of the pin and pull it out. And you can bend it back in, but you really don't want that, so you need to be really careful about doing this and just insert it just a little bit. Ooh, yeah, there's quite a bit of dirt on those. I just like to rock back and forth here. Just don't insert it all the way in, or otherwise you're going to be dealing with a problem with these pins. But hand's probably in the way there. Yeah, just rock back and forth. That's probably pretty clean. Got a little bit more dirt on that side, it looks like, so. Alright, so we'll call that clean. But the other method I've seen people use that's not going to pull out the pins is they use a toothbrush and some ISO and just, you know, scrub at it. But I've also seen people use Windex, but I mean, Windex is not going to be able to clean nearly as well as some 99% ISO, but basically that's how you refurbish the connector. I mean, there's really not much to it. It's not hard, it's just time consuming and just kind of a pain in the ass. But yeah, so I'm just going to get to finish bending all of these pins back and getting this connector refurbished, and then we'll move on to looking at the motherboard and maybe try to see what that substance is. But there's a few things we can do on the main board there to make this system work better that we'll go over. So be back in a few.